You're going to hear some really, wow, that's great, turned on. You're going to hear some really cool things about our IT department today, as well as our EHS department. Thank you, Mariah. But that's a little bit about me. I'm going to go ahead and let our other panelists introduce themselves, tell you a little bit about their background and their current roles, and just kind of a summary of their career journey.
Are we good?
Maybe, do we need the mic?
Do we need the mic, Mariah?
No, I think it was something like that.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
I think it fixed what it was.
Oh, it's that.
Maybe turn
Okay.
that one off.
Okay, that's gooder. Gooder. That's gooder.
Better?
I like gooder sometimes.
Gooder?
I'm like rebellious around.
Okay, so my name is Tammy Campbell. I am group lead for IT support services, which is made up of our help desk, workstation support, embedded engineers in our scientific divisions, and our endpoint management team that looks over the security of our endpoints. I have a team of 42 people, 15 of which are college students. The last 2 hires I've made have been students from Contra Costa College. So we actually have a pipeline and had a pipeline with CCC for a very long time. Very proud of that. I've been at the lab for 42 years, but actually I used to crawl the hallways in my diapers because my dad worked there. And I did some of the very first internet searches before it was called the internet. So I've been in IT for a very, very, very long time. And I'm very proud to work at the Berkeley Lab. It's a great place to work. It's got a great view. I have a great team. And I highly recommend looking at Berkeley, no matter what profession you go into, because we have a whole little city up there of all sorts of different jobs. And Brandon's going to talk about EH&S, but let me hand it over to Brandon.
Okay, thank you. My name is Brandon DeFrancisi, and I'm the department head for the Health and Safety Unit in the Division of Environment, Health and Safety. And you know, those words all make sense to you, but what do we do in health and safety? The overarching goal, if I had to do it in one sentence, is to make sure people go home safe, whether they're researchers in a lab or whether they're working in facilities. It's to make sure they go home safe. And the environment part of EH&S is run by somebody else, but that group obviously deals with environment, the air and the water. They deal with hazardous waste, radiation, safety, lasers, and the like. So that's the other team, but there's a lot in health and safety that we'll go into a little bit later. My team is about 40 as well. We do not have as many interns. Our most recent intern left for his master's degree in University of Washington. He left about a month ago, but we are looking to increase our internship load, have a few more interns regularly, and expose more people to what EH&S is. So that's a brief introduction.
Excellent. Thank you, Brandon and Tammy. I do want to ask our panelists about career paths. Like, how does someone get started in IT or started in EHS? Thank you. What type of education is needed, and what's the, is there a standard or traditional career trajectory?
Oh, we start with Brandon.
Oh, okay. I'm going to do a little bit of a story here because I went to college. I went to Cal as an undergrad, and I majored in genetics, and I had no clue what the heck I wanted to do when I graduated. No clue whatsoever. So the path of least resistance for me was to go to grad school and study more genetics and run a lab on a campus somewhere. And after 6 months in a PhD program, I said, this is not for me. And I left. I moved back across the country to Berkeley, and I worked in a produce warehouse here in Richmond for a while figuring out what the heck I was going to do. And I got a job from some place that would interview any biology major. It was an environmental consulting firm. And at that firm, I spent 5 years working at Dow Chemical out in Pittsburgh. And there I started learning about EH&S and health and safety offices, and the fact that there are a lot of people out there trying to keep workers safe. And There were a lot of them at Dow Chemical, and that's where I started thinking about, what do I want to do when I grow up? Still working on that, but for the time being, I went back to Cal to get a master's degree in the School of Public Health in something that's called industrial hygiene. You hear that and you go, what the heck is industrial hygiene? My kids still don't understand what that means, but it's basically occupational health and safety. And it is a field that I never heard of as an undergrad. A lot of people have never heard of. And we can't hire enough people right now. We're having a hard time finding candidates for positions in our department. I like to categorize health and safety as an area for people who are good with people and like science but might not be science whizzes. I was that kind of person. I always did okay in the first semester of a science class, and then by the second semester it was getting a little harder. By the third semester I was like, I'm out of here. But I liked science, and so I learned all about how chemicals and noise and radiation affect people. And I started in a career, an internship actually at UC Berkeley in their health and safety office. So you can get into health and safety through pretty much any science major, or even through internships if you have a science background and you're interested in it, because a lot of what we do is talking to people and helping understand what's going on. I'll put a pitch out there for anybody who's into microbiology or anything. Biosafety is a field right now that is really hot, and it's hard to find enough biosafety professionals. So taking microbiology classes, any kind of science background really helps with our field. And I think everybody, all 40 of the people I have working in health and safety have some science background. There are certifications you can get after you've been working for a while. Sometimes they're helpful, sometimes they're not. There are careers in public service, working for the state to protect workers. There are careers in government, like national labs like I'm at. There are careers at universities, private sector firms, Apple, Microsoft, wineries hire health and safety people, believe it or not. Disney has a health and safety team. They're all over. Pixar has a health and safety team. That's a little bit of the
Thank you
career
for
path.
sharing that.
So I think you guys might know a little bit about what IT is, but it's the gambit between network, right, storage, workstations at the desktop, to servers, to you name it, it's everything. So all the tools you use, your phone, right, your iPads, your computers, we maintain. Matter of fact, Kelly's one of my customers. She is a customer of mine. My job, I did this, right, over my career. It's never linear. It's always sideways, ups and downs. You may move down here to get up here. I've worked in, like I said, worked in the library doing the first internet searches on the very first worldwide, wasn't even the World Wide Web at that point. I helped convert the laboratory's photo lab from chemical photography to digital photography in the 90s, right? When Apple really wasn't, it was just starting to come back when Steve Jobs bought it again. So we got to use the coolest new Apples on the market, Apple Macintosh's. They were Quadra 800 and 600 and all that kind of stuff, right? And now your phone can do 10 times as much as the computers I worked with. I was report coordinator. I was responsible for the database to track all the scientific reports at the laboratory. So I dove into database management. But actually, to tell you the truth, one of the coolest things I did when I was in the photo lab, I got to fly in a helicopter all day long, taking pictures over aerials, over the Bay Area, over the lab, and over our facilities in Walnut Creek. So that was the coolest thing I've done. But now in IT, my goal is to actually create the next generation of IT professionals. And like I said, I have 15 interns that are currently working for me, and our division is looking to provide opportunities as well in IT. So what do you need? Preferably like 2 years of college because then that shows me that you're committed. But if you tinker, that's good as well. 4 years of college is great. Certifications are great. But what you think you know, you don't really know. You'll learn on the job. And I've got a team that is 60%. Their first job was an internship at Berkeley Lab, and now they're employees. So, like I said, I just hired 2 students from CCC.
You know, I work with Tammy and her team when they're interviewing for the role, the interns roles, or any type of computer science engineer one. And one of the great things about her team is that it's a development. So they train you, they develop it. Everything that her team trains you on when you start is documented, and there's so many resources and so much support for learning and developing. So it's like a training ground. They start with you and then they expand and they work out into different areas. Can you let the students here know what some of those areas are at the lab once they leave you?
Okay, so we actually have interns that are working in the lab in scientific areas. That's, I think, really cool. But I have friends that are in the industry out in the Bay Area, right, that are actually VPs of tech startup companies. They're in cybersecurity. So you can get a job and start as an intern at the lab, and as you grow and move on and graduate, you have a good enough foundation that people will look at your resumes. That's the other thing we do. You all have to do a resume. You all have a project, 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, and you have to do a presentation in front of the staff, because I think it's really important to develop, like Kelly reminds me, they're not soft skills, they're power skills. And I was at an advisory board last night. The most important thing you guys can learn is those power skills, because we can teach you the technology, but you need to have the initiative, and you need to be organized, and you need to learn project management and time management. And we give that. And speaking in front of a crowd.
Yeah, yeah, I think you do a great job with your team in that, and they stay and they grow. No one leaves.
Yeah,
you.
they don't want to
They don't
leave.
leave. They've been there forever, so I appreciate that. Brandy, can you share a little bit about what that trajectory is like if someone starts at an intern? What kind of roles can they evolve into at the lab and
Yeah,
develop?
it depends on what you come in with, but we generally start by showing our interns every part of what health and safety does, and that includes walking construction sites, because we're always building something, a new building, multiple new buildings, helping with lab safety surveys. There's a lot of fantastically exciting research going on at the lab, and you accompany the lab inspector inspecting the labs, and you get to see all this fancy equipment that they're using, some of the researchers. You get to help us with data management. The trajectory, if it were to come to be, would be to an entry-level technician type position, either helping out with sampling pumps and sampling equipment, because we're always sampling air around where people are working to make sure they're not breathing too much of a nasty chemical. It can lead to hazardous waste technician positions, which are helping package and get rid of the waste that comes on the campus. The trajectory also outside of the lab, consulting firms are always looking for people with a little bit of internship experience to help do monitoring at construction sites. Most of the construction companies that are on site doing buildings on our facility have their own health and safety technicians as well. So this would open you up to that type of thing. And it depends on where you are in your education path as well. If you're coming out with a 2-year degree or a 4-year degree, it would depend on the level. But there's a lot out there, and it's hard to hire right now. So I encourage you.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. I do want to talk about equipment and tools because we've got some fancy tools and equipment at the lab.
Oh, yeah.
High performance, can you share from the IT perspective and maybe EHS?
So we have the big, fastest pipeline there is in the world because it's the scientific net. We move data like you wouldn't believe. So because we have to share it between institutions. We have one of the biggest supercomputing facilities. We have it, climate change, big, big things like that. You need lots of power, lots of computing. So we have a supercomputing group with a super network, right? We have a mid-tier computing, high performance computing. We have a huge scientific VM farm, and we have networking, right? And we have telephony, right? Our telephones, and we have the workstation part of it, all the endpoints, the tools that we use to do our job every day, right? So there's all sorts of jobs at the laboratory open to IT, right? That you have the availability to be exposed to. And the best way to get exposed is through an internship.
Absolutely.
Equipment,
EHS,
yeah, well, I mean, there's a lot of neat stuff at the lab, from huge linear accelerators to
Yeah.
the most advanced chemistry labs in the world, to biosafety issues. There's a little bit of animal research up there you might be surprised to know about. And I just had,
Genome Institute, Flex Lab.
yeah,
Yeah.
I just had a really,
NSEM.
I had a neat one and I just forgot about it, and I will,
Your team is working on
yeah,
BioEpic? No.
it'll come back to me. at the
Yeah,
wrong time.
we have 5 user facilities at Berkeley Lab. So we are a Department of Energy funded national laboratory, one of 17 in the US. And there are 28 total user facilities across these national laboratories, and we have 5. Like you mentioned, ESNet and NERSC.
Advanced light
like,
source.
The advanced light source,
Advanced
which
light
I
source.
can think of as a very powerful light
look
that
at
looks at the
Matter,
Subatomic
atomic
particles.
nanoparticles.
right?
Yeah.
We have, the human genome. It was actually developed
Yeah.
at Berkeley Lab,
Yep. CRISPR.
right?
I just
CRISPR as
remember
well.
what I was going to say. Those of you who've had chemistry, you've seen a periodic table of the elements, right? We're starting to look for the next element.
That's right.
I think it ends at 119 now. We're starting to look for number 120, which is pretty cool.
And we've discovered 16 elements on the periodic table. So we've done some really amazing stuff at the laboratory.
And one of my mentors actually founded 104 and 105.
Yay.
So, though I'm in IT, he was a nuclear chemist.
Yeah.
But that's the kind of environment you can be around where people actually take time out of their day to mentor you. That might not be in your profession, but it's always good to have a diverse background and get different advice from other people.
Yeah. Yep. I do want to make sure we have enough time for the students to ask questions about anything they've heard so far or anything they want to know more about the lab. This is a good opportunity to raise your hand and ask us questions. Yeah. Who wants to go first? Yes. Oh, do you want me to use this mic? Okay. Mariah's getting the mic.
Are you guys you have all your resumes done?
Yes.
You all have your resumes done? That's important.
It's important. Nope, that one's not working. Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead.
We'll try to.
How long are these
Internships? We have several pathways for internships. Tammy, you want to talk about that?
like 6 weeks?
Okay, so the laboratory has established path internships through the workforce development, right? So they can be over the summer, or they could be over a semester. My internships are based on how well you do your job. So you could have an internship all the way through your college career because you're a student assistant is basically what you are. So it's up to you to keep the job, and it's up to you to learn. Right?
20 hours a week for student assistants?
20 hours a week during the school year because school comes first, 40 hours a week during the summer. And it's a paid internship. And it's based on the experience you are coming in and the age, the year
you
of
are in
your
school.
school.
So
Yeah.
first year, second year, third year, fourth year.
So yes, I mean, I would definitely go and check, what is it, education.lbl.gov
Yeah. it'll
for
be on
the work development ones, because they're looking for applications like now.
Yeah, so one of the things I set up at the back table of this room is information about our community college internship program. The application for next summer opened up on October 17th. The applications are due on January 9th, and I highly encourage you to start the application now. Do some work on it, save it, and not submit it till January until you have done your essays and gotten your recommendation letters. So you can work on it up until then, but it's due by like 5 p.m. Eastern time on January 9th. Because you have 2 breaks, you have finals, you have holidays in between that time. So, and what's really cool about these programs is in the summer, it's a 40-hour-a-week job. It's 10 weeks in the summer, starting June and ending August. So the first week of June and in August. And the community college internship program is fully funded, which means Brandon and Tammy doesn't have to pay for you to be there. The DOE pays for you to be there. So you can have community college interns as many as you want, and it doesn't cost you anything because the DOE is funding that program. But we get so few applicants. It's really a shame. So few applicants to the CCI program. Yeah. So I have all the information on the back table, and then I'll go over it all here. So it ends January 9th. It's open now. It's really great. You go to the websites, and there's some QR codes that the sites it'll take you to the application process. And there's a flyer on the table in the back. It has some workshops. So we offer dozens. You probably saw dozens of internship programs for every level. Undergraduate, which you would be considered, CCI program, and then we have graduate, post-bac. We have internships for faculty or fellowships for faculty as well, or faculty and teams. So there's dozens of programs, and we want you to participate in these programs because Department of Energy national laboratories are funded by your tax dollars. So use your money. Yes.
None of this stuff that's in here.
You don't have to have any experience to work at the lab as an intern. You just have to love a little bit of science. We're science adjacent. We're STEM adjacent roles. We support science. We support researchers. You just have to want and love what you do. Technology, science. We do some pretty amazing things out there. I am not a scientist. I am not an engineer.
She's far from it.
The website, there's several different websites. And here, we're open science. We're an open source environment. If you type into Google internships at Berkeley Lab, the website will come up. It's education.lbl.gov, by the way. Yes.
We had a gentleman here, though.
Someone else had another question.
He had raised his hand.
Yeah, we're good. What if you are over here?
Okay.
I'm wanting to be part of the science community
Yeah.
for marine biology,
Yeah.
but what if, my question is asking is, does my major have to match up with the internships?
Not really. You have to have an interest and complete your application in a way that it gets the attention of what you want to do. So when you complete these applications, they're going to ask you to pick 2 labs. I did tell you there are 17 national labs. Pick Berkeley Lab as your first choice and pick another lab who aligns with, it could be in California, it can be outside of California. The pay is going to be the same. The difference is going to be in how they pay you for housing. We pay the $3,000 a month stipend in housing because it's expensive to live here. Even if you live 50 miles from the lab, you're still going to get that $3,000 housing stipend. Just because. That's what's budgeted for the DOE. Okay? We cover you travel to and from. Even if you live within 50 miles of the lab, you're still going to get a travel stipend. You do not have to work in an area that doesn't align. You could just be curious about something, right? You can be curious about quantum if you're a microbiology major. But how you specify that on your application is going to be really important.
I mean, the opportunities are amazing, you guys. They're going to pay for your housing. They're going to pay you to work
Yeah.
in an internship where you're going to learn, and you might meet a scientist that tomorrow is on the news because of the vaccine,
Yeah.
right? I mean, it's an amazing place to work. I cannot tell you
Yeah.
how proud I am to work at Berkeley Lab. It is got everything.
And I'll just give an example. I just remembered, we do have a kind of intern right now. We have a student assistant who we hired as, while he was in his sophomore year, 2 years ago, and he's in his senior year now. And he wants to go to med school, his interest, but he's helping quality control and quality assurance on some of our chemical inventory data. And he showed us, he was able, talking about the strong skills. You need to be able to communicate and you be able to, and he wrote a good resume and he did a good interview and he convinced us that he was our guy to quality check our data. And that's what he does. And he does it remotely, which is why I didn't.
It's not even related to like medical school, really? It'll intersect at some point,
At
right?
some point, but but he's working remotely, so we don't see him that often, but that kind of opportunity exists as well.
Nice. That is cool.
So I have a couple of questions from online.
Sure.
So Megan, who's joined us online, is a mechanical engineering major, and she recently graduated with an associate's degree in June. She's taking some additional courses here to brush up on her technical skills and applying for transfer in fall 2024. She's interested in both IT and H&S. Are there positions that she can apply for as an intern in those spaces? And if so, how does she go about that?
Did you say she has a mechanical engineering degree already?
Associate's degree.
There's a need for that at the lab, and you don't have to have a degree to do some mechanical engineering work at the lab. And she should go to jobs.lbl.gov and look at those jobs. And then we'll put our contact information again so everyone can see it. But email me your resume so I can forward it to the engineering
She's the
group.
connection.
Yeah.
Right. And just so you
It's
know,
just so hard to find mechanical engineers now and women in mechanical engineering. Yeah.
yeah, and we'll send these slides to everyone who's checked in both online and here in person
You should
after
definitely
they've been.
apply for CCI as well. I believe in casting a wide net and apply to everything you can or you're eligible for. And there's also a 2024 computer science student program that's posted on our website right now, and there's more information in the back on the table. Apply to that as well. And they take international students in computing science for that summer program.
Okay. So a couple more questions. They're both around types of internship opportunities. One person is asking if someone wants to pursue their career in disease research, what type of opportunities, internship or job opportunities are there? And another person is curious about if there's anything connected to veterinary medicine.
What was the first one, research? What type of research?
Disease?
That sounds like bioscience or JGI.
Disease research.
Yeah. We do Alzheimer's, we do cancer. We
Yeah.
don't do human research, but a lot of our research at the lab is to help human health. Yes.
Then veterinary?
Well, we do have an animal program, but
It's neuroscience
it's
on
small.
mice.
It's small.
It's small.
It's
Yeah.
small.
So, I mean, you still need a
You don't
foundation,
have to, yeah.
right?
You don't have to work at the lab. If you're a veterinary medicine major, but you're curious about something else that in veterinary medicine, then come to the lab and just be curious about that and learn something new.
And put it on your resume. That's key. It's the resume that gets you in the door
Yeah.
and what kind of experience you have, right?
She's going to ask a question. She's next, Mariah. No,
No, go
ask
ahead.
her, yeah.
Hi. My major is dietetics, and I was interested in the internship, but I was wondering, like, is there any field referring to nutritionists, dietetics, dealing with your lab or your facility.
What are you passionate about with that particular major?
Well, I used to be 297 pounds.
Okay.
Wow.
You know, I started back in January 2002, and it's been an ongoing struggle with, you know, food and, you know, trying to find out, you know, how to eat correctly.
Yeah.
And I've realized that I have a passion for that. And like I love to eat, I love food, but you know, there's a way to eat correctly.
Yeah.
Like I I really want to help people, you know, live longer and eating better.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to like always eat fruits and vegetables every day. You can eat a little bit of everything, but do it in moderation.
Yeah.
And you know, like don't overeat in a abundance of like one thing, you know,
Yes.
such as like barbecue all the time.
Yeah, yeah.
You learn, well, we've learned that it gives you cancer, but that's everything in the world. So you have
A
to, you
lot of
know,
things.
eat everything in moderation, but fruits and vegetables is your best bet.
Thank you for sharing that. And it really does align with some of the work that biosciences is doing. Um, because we do plant genome or plant biome and proteins that relate to our health, our bodily health. So that sounds like bioscience would be ideal for you. And what are you curious about, right? So those are the
Yeah.
things that you would put on your application. This is what I'm curious about, and how, what work are you doing around, making bodies healthy? And there is a lot of work at the lab that does that. But we use plant protein research for that, like the COVID vaccine. Right? We see a lot of work on that. There's a question up here.
And there's one over there.
Hi, I'm a first year computer science major.
Just come with the microphone.
So thank you. So, does it work?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So as someone with no experience, but a lot of interest in computer science and the IT field, I want to know, apart from interest, what kind of what do you really look for in a resume? What sets someone else apart, and what would be the deciding factor in choosing someone for an internship? Yeah.
Yeah. Great question. Glad you asked it because it's an easy answer.
You have to show initiative. You have to say that you're enrolled in courses, that in the computer science courses, that you're interested. You want to learn, right?
Just show motivation and show interest.
And
That's really it. The application doesn't call for you to. It's not a competitive process. It's how many of you can successfully get through the application process.
and we're not ogres when we interview either. We actually kind of make it fun. Jenny will tell you, my head of my help desk, who actually runs the intern program, she remembers she almost cried her very first interview, and she said, we try to make it so you're
Yeah.
comfortable, right? Because
Yeah.
there's nothing harder than speaking in front of a bunch of people that you don't know, but that's okay.
Are there any specific technical skills to look for? Any field or
The question was, are there
As,
any specific
as an
technical
intern,
skills
you are
that are
not
looked for?
going to have any skills relative to the work that you're going to do at the lab. So that is not the expectation. Maybe it's different for you, Brandon, but you're not. Yeah, you're not going to have them. You're
It's a-
going to learn them.
Right. It's a
Build them.
demonstrated interest in the application.
Yeah.
You have an interest, or at least a tangential interest, in working in health and safety.
Yeah.
Learning about protecting people's health, or something related.
His department protects me and my team every day.
Yeah.
Right? Because we have to go into these labs and work on these instruments, these computers that run these multi-million-dollar instruments that take in data,
Yeah.
right, from samples. And it's his department that protects us. And if we didn't have that, I don't, you should be surprised at some of these machines. They're pretty crazy.
Yeah. We also have ergonomics, which is how we interface with machines, and mostly for people at a computer. But we have two ergonomists on staff. So another
And we
field.
have a full medical team.
Yeah, we have a full.
So we have an EHS doctor. So we have a doctor, medical doctor, director. We have nurses. We have a fire department. We have a safety team. There's like a whole little city up
We have
there.
electricians, we have plumbers. I rely on my carpenters, my electricians, my plumbers, all the guys that are up in facilities. They're the actual ones that actually get a lot of stuff done around the lab.
Yeah.
So,
So, like, relax. I know you, and when you are listening to other industry organizations or other companies, they want you to have this and show up like this, but just be motivated and encouraged and love science.
and tell me what your
What
dream
you're passionate
is.
about.
What do you want to do?
Yeah,
Right?
that matters.
That's yeah, that's important.
Yes. Hello, and thank you for this great presentation. I really appreciate. Can you hear me? Yes.
Yeah.
And my question is, um, can I get the internship if I already completed computer information degree and computer operation, and I got associate in science summer. And I tried to just like I sent my resume and my cover letter, but I didn't get any response from lab. And today, just like I can ask like directly, Tammy is
Yeah.
pronounce, how I can get the internship or maybe job because I'm ready to work, and I have some experience like QA manual engineering, but it was online experience and like short term, like a year, and it's not enough for me to get like IT support job or help desk. I completed also a program in Calvary College in this program IT support. I didn't pass yet A plus. And I'm taking right now network classes in San Francisco College because I decided I'm not ready. I know, just like I really want to get this job. And it's difficult for me to go through the interview process. I tried like many times, and because English is my second language, I started to learn English 8 years ago. I completed English as second language whole program in Contra Costa College, and also I completed computer information, computer operation in Contra Costa College. My GPA is 3.8. And I couldn't find any internship, and I tried to talk with Professor Ryan. I gave him this like paper, and I asked him for help. So, and I try like every day to do something toward my dream and my dream job. And so I'm really disappointed, and this is like my last chance to do something, to find a job. And this is really difficult for me because I know I try to do every day a lot of things. I cannot open this door.
Yeah.
So maybe I need to talk like one-on-one, or maybe you have like some like tips, or I don't understand what I'm doing wrong, why I cannot get the job or internship. I um, I do like everything that I can. Like I learn English like 3 years, done, completed, and I started to learn like next step, completed, very successful, and how I can get the job.
I'm curious to know which jobs you're applying to.
Help
Because we
desk.
don't post our internship position.
I apply for internship, help desk, for just like any internship. My major is computer
We
information.
don't have
don't
we,
post-
okay, so my jobs are student assistant jobs for the help desk, right? And we call them internships, but the
Yeah.
ones that Kelly is advertising up here, you should be able to get if you apply
Yeah.
and go through the
Yeah.
application process.
Yeah.
If you're still in school, you have to be still in school
I
for
completed,
mine.
so
Okay,
this
so
is the
school is
point.
done for you. You
This summer, like
Okay.
my last semester was summer semester, so
Okay.
I completed like last 2 classes this summer, August 28, and but I'm currently taking classes in San Francisco College.
Okay, so I
Oh.
think you sound highly educated, and your English is fine. I don't see those as barriers at all. It just will depend on which positions you're applying to. And you see contact information up there. take a
I
picture of
already
it,
have an.
email me your resume, and let's schedule some time to talk about which positions you should be applying to,
Mhm.
and then how many versions of your resume you should have, because it sounds like you have some diverse experience. One resume will not fit all the positions that you want to apply
That's
to.
right.
Okay?
Correct,
So you may
yes.
need different cover letters and different resumes for that. So you're going to email me the resume, and then let me know your, we can set up some time to
Thanks so
talk.
much. I really need your help. So I need to correct my maybe resume, maybe cover letter, maybe my presentation.
Just send it to me as is. Do not make any changes. I will mark it up myself.
I can give you maybe right now.
Send it to me electronically too.
Okay,
Yeah.
fine. Thank you so much.
Oh, yeah, of course. Do we have any other questions?
We do, right over
Yeah.
there.
You have to be heard by everyone.
So, in regards to like,
Can you
what
put
was-
it up a little
I
higher?
can't hear you.
I
what
can't.
would some milestones be for like a intern or someone getting into a position like within like if they're doing the 10-week summer internship, right? Like after halfway through 5 weeks,
Yeah.
what probably at least something that they should probably accomplish by then or get done on the job. I know y'all had mentioned like people are staying, coming like the student assistant position. They're staying because overall, you know, they're getting stuff done.
Yep.
Their merit, what their overall, the work that they put into the lab, like what would at least starting getting through the door would like something like an accomplishment be for
It depends on the individual. So everyone's intrinsic motivation is going to be different. So it's always good to have some idea of what you want to accomplish during your internship. You're assigned a mentor and a team to work with, and then your cohort has professional development each week. There may be panels of speakers that you get to listen to about different topics. But the goal is you can get the most out of your internship. Ask questions, show up. They're like, you're working with some really brilliant people at this laboratory. Take advantage of that. But you get to set your milestones. And then you get to work with your mentor to meet those milestones. Like, what are you hoping to accomplish in your internship? Do you want to learn certification? Do you want to learn what else they
Well,
like? It's different for everyone.
yeah, but you got to be motivated.
Yeah.
You got to
We
show
can't
the
do that part
initiative,
for you.
right?
Yeah.
If you don't show the initiative, then it's like
Ask for what you want.
ask. Yeah, exactly. That's what I ask my interns all. What do you want?
And that's what we asked our intern when he started this summer. We said, all right, you got the job. Now, here's some of the things you can do. What are you interested in? And that person out the gate became an expert in fit testing respirators. You know those respirators firefighters wear, and he chose to learn that skill such that by the end of the internship, he was handling fit testing some of the scientists and facility staff
And
himself.
my team.
Yeah. He also wanted to learn how to run the pumps that we hang on people sometimes to draw air into. So he learned that, and we found out he had a handy skill of repairing things. So he started fixing things that were broken, which was also kind of neat. So he kind of set his path forward. Now, that was maybe a third or fourth of half of his time. The other half, we had things that we needed to get done. So it's a balance again.
Yeah, so you can pretty much call it. I mean, on my team, you're going to learn how to project manage. You're going to learn how to do a presentation. You're going to learn how you have to do your resume. You're going to have to talk in front of the group, right? It's a safe space. We say this is where you can screw up all you want. We'll give you feedback, and then the next time around you can do better. You're going to have to do a LinkedIn profile. That is really, really important that you start working on that. You got to develop an elevator pitch. Who are you? You got to sell me in 60 seconds. What makes you different, right? Because I got to do that, right? When I'm in a room with somebody, I got to talk. I got to do that tomorrow with the president of the UC system, right? So it's all dependent on what you guys want to do, and we'll let you practice, right?
It's a really great practice ground, training ground. Hopefully, we've been able to convey to you how excited we are to have local resources at the lab, but just try. Just try. But I do want everyone to put in a profile on that iPad When you answer those questions and put in your contact information, you will get an email from me, and it has links to the lab, the jobs page, all the internships. And we have dozens of internships. There's entrepreneurial internships, there's IT internships, there's computing science internships, there's a lot of internships, energy internships. Do you have a question?
Uh, is it working? Oh, yeah.
Yes.
But you just said there's an IT internship and computing science internship.
Yes.
I have always understood that there's a difference, but what I've not understood is what's the difference?
The difference between
An IT and a computer science.
IT workstation, desktop support is Tammy's team.
Yeah.
And then the computing science area is a research area that supports research science. So people all over the world, scientists all over the world can send their data, can send their research to our laboratory for our staff to support doing their research because they can't be on site. There's a lot of projects going on. There's data science projects. There's AI, machine learning projects going on. So our staff in the computing science area supports research. Did I say that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you guys have an internship for that too?
Yes.
Computing
That
science?
is
Yeah.
the 2024 computing science student program for next summer. And it's going to be in that email. The link is going to be in that email when you fill out that
Yeah, so
application.
fill out that.
And it might seem like a redundant question, but is it still same that you don't, everything you need, you learn there?
Everything you need, you'll learn there. You don't have to have any technicals coming into it. You just have to be motivated. Does that sound like it's unbelievable or something?
Too good to be true? Yeah, yeah, you know what? Because the laboratory is about possibilities. It's the impossible becoming possible.
Yeah.
So you got to think about all the science that has happened at the laboratory. It's overwhelming, right?
Breakthroughs.
Yeah, it's an amazing thing, but it's because somebody did the impossible, right? And so I think you gotta just take a leap of faith, fill out the application, say where you're excited about, what you want to do, right? And there are possibilities. I mean, Brandon's field is wide open.
Yeah.
I mean, they're looking for so many people to fill those spots.
Yeah.
That is a really good profession to be in, because thank God we have them, because he protects my staff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and everybody wants to go into cyber, and yeah, there's a lot of work in cyber, but at the same time, you gotta know your networking, and you gotta know, the OSI model, and you gotta learn all those kind of things, right? So,
And Tammy's team, when they interview, it is their questions are not hard, but they trick students up a little bit because you're overthinking. We are a Microsoft and a Mac environment, right? And you don't have to have experience in both, but they'll ask questions in a way that will help them understand where you need developing. So if you don't know the answer to a question, it's like, yeah, I haven't had any experience in that, but I'm willing to learn. That is the correct answer.
that's
That's
definitely
it. When you don't know the answer, I don't have experience with that. And I've interviewed with you before, and someone didn't have any, like, he's the least technically qualified of the candidates, but he was humble, and he was like, I know how to lead a team. I've done this before. He was military. And he got the position because he demonstrated his willingness to learn.
We're looking for thought process. How do you think?
Yeah.
How do you approach a problem, right? And you don't have to be right.
Yeah.
You're just willing to actually kind of go down that road.
Yeah.
Right?
And don't be afraid to say, I don't know, when
Please
asked a
don't.
question
Oh, yeah.
in any interview.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll respect that rather than a load of BS.
You can
Yeah.
you can sniff out the BS right
Yeah, we
away.
can tell.
Those are the people that next.
And then sometimes if it's taking you a long time to answer a question, which has happened, we just say, take your time. We're just take your time if you need to think through it. And then some people think through it they're not hard questions. It could be like office, what is it, the directory, Active Directory question or something.
Yeah.
Like, what is your experience with that? If you don't have any, you don't have any. But if you know what it is, it's probably just a textbook answer. And then some of the questions are, you could answer them 12 different ways. So,
Just who you are and how you communicate.
yeah.
Quick question about applying.
Yeah.
So we will receive an email from you first and then we apply, or we could just go to a certain email and.
So I have some information on the back table. Fill out the questionnaire on the iPad, and you'll get an email from me. It has a lot of information, and my contact is, there's a lot of hyperlinks. In my contact information, feel free to reply to that with your resume and let me know what you're interested in.
Okay.
Or what you plan to do.
Can we send our resume to your email?
Yes.
She's the key.
Yeah.
I cannot.
But I want more of you to apply to CCI.
Yes,
I signed up to be a mentor for next summer.
I mean, CCI is a big deal, you guys. They pay housing. They pay you over the summer. $3,000 for housing is pretty cool. Plus your transportation.
Yeah.
Right? So take advantage. It's the people that don't take advantage, they get left behind. Take advantage. It's here for you. These programs are built for you.
Yeah.
And those of you that are attending online, just know that you'll have that email of Kelly's to be able to send your resume
Yes,
and
just
get the
put
entrance form that way.
Yeah, put your email in the chat, and then I can get the chat and send you that email. Easy. CC, what do you mean? You live out of state? So there's 17 national labs in the country. There are 4 here: Livermore, Sandia, Slack, which is and Berkeley, and then there's a lot more outside of California. There is some Savannah, Georgia.
Yeah.
There is.
That might be as close as you get.
That's
Savannah River, yeah.
Savannah River. This is the closest it gets. But they are a nuclear facility.
They're a little different.
But there's others. There's 2 in Illinois, New York.
But then
It depends on what you want to do, because if you're specific about what you want to do, I could tell you which.
Right, and those internships might be remote, right? We
Yeah.
have a lot. We actually deliver all the computers for the summer program for WDEE, and we're shipping them all over the United States. So the programs are available.
Yeah.
Use them.
Good question. So.
So you're all gonna apply, right?
Yep. And you're gonna grab a flyer, and you're gonna scan those QR codes and sign up on the iPad.
Great.
Okay. I hope to see you at the lab.
Yeah, start now. If you're beginning your career, get into internships now and keep applying. And keep
Internship
doing
is the best pathway into the laboratory, and then we'll look at what we can have.
Like if I done, so if I completed, is it possible for me to apply if I?
Yes.
Yeah.
You can. Yeah. I just need to see your resume, and we can do that. And I'm gonna head to the back of the room, but let's thank our panelists for
Thank you.
being here today and sharing everything. But I do want to provide some more guidance on the back.
And I'm up here if you guys need
Yeah, if
any.
anyone wants to talk.
If anybody wants to talk.